the comments, Johnny Smith's mom, first and last name, so we make sure we give you credit for joining us on live stream. Again, we're going to wait just about 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to jump right in. All right, guys, I want to respect your time, and you're getting here on time. So I want to, we were able to do it within the hour this morning, and so we're going to do that tonight too, because I know you have better things to do than to sit in here and listen to me. All right, thank you for being here. We are excited that spring break is almost over and that school gets to start again. We really are excited. We can't wait to see our kids and get our hands on them. And yes, we will be loving on them, okay? Unless you tell us we can't love on your child, and then we'll just love on them from a distance, air hugs. No. But we will start promptly at 8 a.m. on Thursday morning, and we will be, while I'm talking about that, we'll be out in the parking lot. If you did not see that email, instead of being inside, we're going to go outside so you can stay and be a part of that first day celebration. I am asking, we're going to break all the rules, okay? Normally I tell you can't park out front. Thursday, park out front, okay? Any other time, don't park out there. But you can park out there where we normally drop off. And for those of you who are new, we'll make sure you understand what all that is. But you may park out there and then walk over to the parking lot. If you are just dropping your child off, you're not able to stay because of work, we will ask that you drive into the Sierra parking lot backwards from what we normally do, and you'll see it'll be clearly marked because we're going to have it all roped off of where you will drop them off and where everybody has to come in because we have to take temps for you even to come in my safe zone there, okay, on Thursday morning. But you are welcome to just drop your child off. There will be, our photo booth will be out there as well, so you can take first day of school pictures. Thank you to Brittany for making my backdrop for me this year. And so we're looking forward to that as well. You will be able to stay, be a part of that, and then when the students come in, you'll have to stop at the door, okay? And that's where you'll get to say your goodbyes. Actually, we'll ask you to do that at the parking lot so my teachers can get them across. We will have some gentlemen out there helping to control traffic because buses will be coming through and residential and daycare will still be coming through to drop off. So please just be very much aware as you're crossing that street for us, okay? And we're looking forward to that time as well. Then on Friday morning, we will get right back into the normal routine where you come in down here at the end of this parking lot, come all the way across to the fellowship hall with your passenger side next to the sidewalk, and we're hoping to have some of our church members as volunteers out there to get them out of the car, so then we can utilize my staff to take temps, enter in the computer system, and be inside. But somebody will be there to get them out of the car. It may not be anybody that you've seen before, but I promise you, if they're out there, they're good folks, okay? And that's what will happen on Friday, and then every day thereafter, okay? So let me get started on this list of things that we need to go over. Thank you for being here, and we have lots of things that we want to cover. Things are different in all forms and fashion this year, but we are going to make the best of it. I feel like we are ahead of the game. I had the privilege of meeting with the city, with all the other superintendents and principals, and hearing what they're doing and what we've got in place, and we got our game on. We're ready to go. We're not perfect. Things are still going to happen that we didn't anticipate. I feel like we brainstormed every possible scenario, but there's going to be something that we didn't think of. Just be patient with us, and we're going to be patient with you, and we're going to learn to navigate this new lifestyle that we've got for right now. And hopefully it will get back to somewhat of what we would like for normal to be again, okay? And at the same time, we're asking that you help us to help your students understand that as families, we all have different opinions about what's going on in our world, have different opinions about masks. We are asking that every day when your child comes, they do have to have a mask when they get out of the car. If they don't, we'll have disposable ones. As long as we are as a student body as a whole, they will have to have a mask on. Once they get to their rooms and they're in their what we call our family units, if you want your child to wear a mask during class time, you need to communicate that with your teacher, okay? Otherwise, they have that freedom. I am telling you up front, I am not going to be a mask Nazi, okay? And I've instructed my staff not to be. But what that means is if you say, my child needs to wear their mask all the time, we are going to respect that, and we're going to encourage your child to do that, but I'm not going to get on to them for not doing it, okay? We're going to communicate that back to you. There are certain times that as we're in the hallways, anywhere we're a student body, they're going to have their mask on during that time. I do have to somewhat abide by the law, okay? And so we're going to be respectful of that. And so just communicate with your teachers on that as well, all right? But also help your kids to know that some families view things differently, and we're going to respect our differences, okay? For those of you that are watching us live, please type in the comments your child's name saying that you're here, so we make sure we give you credit for that as well. We feel like we have really progressed in our technology stuff over these 5 months, and I'm very grateful to many people who have made that possible, Gabby being one of them. And so we're really rocking along, and I feel like that we are ready for anything that's going to happen to us virtually this year, okay? But we're believing that's not going to happen. There are some families who are going to be joining us virtually. On Monday, we did a trial run about 10:30 where we had every teacher streaming live. We had every conceivable instrument, computer going in the daycare and school and church office to make sure that we weren't going to crash, and we did very well with that. So we're excited. We feel like we're ready for what's going to happen on Thursday. And that being said, too, that if your child gets sent home sick, let's say they've got strep or an ear infection or, common cold or whatever is going to be going around, if we send them home, the neat thing is because our teachers from day one are videoing every lesson, you can immediately click on Jupiter Grades, that link, and they can immediately be participating in class. If they don't feel like it that day, they're running high fever, but tomorrow they feel up to it, they can go back to yesterday's and get back up to speed. So I'm excited about that. That will help tremendously with us whenever sickness comes around, because it's going to come, okay? But we're going to make the very best of it. Let me tell you that our theme this year is, if you've not seen on Facebook, how many of you guys saw Professor YGT this week? Oh my goodness, I'm crushed. Professor YGT made a special video for their students. You got to watch that, okay? But our theme is Coram Deo. It's Latin for living life in the presence of God, under the authority of God, and for the glory of God. And that's what our theme is this year. As we go through all of this, our focus needs to be that everything that we do, our attitude, our actions, are going to glorify our Lord. And so I'm excited about that, and we're going to be teaching your students more about that as we go throughout the year. If you've not turned in all your paperwork, please do that. If you've lost it, we've made it easy for you finally. Another jump into the 21st century. All of our forms are now online on our CHA website. Thank you to Miss Gabby. And so you can go on there, go to the re-registration, not pre-registration, but re-registration, because you're former families. And all of your paperwork is right there. You fill it out, hit send, and it will go straight to Miss Jennifer, okay? So if you've not done that, make sure that you get that done for us. Also, before you leave today, Miss Jennifer has some other papers out there that if you would see her, if you're signed up on Kroger's, remember that you have to re-enroll every year. There's instruction sheets for that. If you are on Smile Amazon, if you are a big Amazon shopper like Mr. Patton is, if you ever drive my house, I'm sorry for all the boxes you'll see on my front porch. It's not from me. It's from Lenny Patton, okay? But he hates going to the store. So go to Amazon, but go to Smiles Amazon. It doesn't change anything on your settings, okay? But what that does is that sends money to our school, free money that we get to use and comes in handy to us. Also, Office Depot, if you ever go to Office Depot, even for your business, tell them it's for Christian Heritage Academy. They'll pull up our number. You don't even have to have that memorized. And then also schoolshop.com. There's instructions for that. And Gabby said that there's also an instruction sheet on this one on Smile Amazon, how to put that on your phone. Do that app if you've not been doing that as well. And Jupiter Ed, she'll go over this more in just a few minutes, but Jupiter Ed does not have an app, but you can make an icon on your phone for Jupiter Ed, and there's instructions how to do that as well, okay? So see Jennifer out at that table in the atrium before you leave. Now back to my notes real quick. There we go. Again, our website is up. We're being diligent to keep that more informed this year than we ever have, and there's lots of links and information there for you, so please go check that out. If you've not dropped off your children's supplies yet, you can do that either tonight or tomorrow. They can bring them on Thursday, but they're going to have to bring them in. I cannot allow you in the building once we begin on Thursday morning, okay? That being said, too, if you bring your child lunch, there will be a table right inside the drive-through ramp door. There will be markers there. You put their name on it, and then we will make sure that they get that. We are not allowing Grubhub and whatever the other one is, DoorDash, because last year we had lots of problems with those not getting here until after lunchtime, okay? So we're saying no to that, especially at this point in time, okay? Our kids are going to be eating lunch in 3 different rooms. They're staying as family units to do that. I look forward to the day that I get them all back in one place, but that's another one of the things that we've put into play. As I went to that meeting, we have a whole protocol for COVID of things that we have to do on a daily basis if that should happen to show up in our school. I will tell you this, in the 5 months that we've been going through this whole COVID stuff, in our daycare, I've had between 80 and 100 little guys running around and a staff of 20 plus people. We have not had a single case come through there. I've only sent 2 kids home in 5 months with fever, and they both had ear infections. So I feel like if I can do that with little guys who are in their space, eating and sucking on and biting and everything else, I think we could do it with our older kids too. So not saying we're going to be perfect, but I just want you to know that we have our A game on and we're ready, okay? And I want you to be confident in that. We talked about that. We talked about masks required every day. Also, I need to tell you that our church has now put cameras in all of our classrooms. That is a safety mechanism for us. Those are not live streamed. They are being recorded to our server here, so that if I needed to see what happened in a room or something came up missing, we can go back and look at what was going on. But I do need to let you know that we are recording as the day goes on, okay? But it's not used for any other means. It will not be ever given to anyone else, okay, unless it's the authorities for a specific purpose. We've talked about there are some families who are joining us from the beginning of virtual learning, and once you start virtual, you have to complete that 6 weeks with us. Now, let's say you start on Thursday with us, and 3 weeks in, you feel your child needs to stay at home and do virtual. That is fine. They have to finish the 6 weeks then. Once you leave traditional classroom and go to virtual, you have to finish that 6 weeks. Now, if I send your child home sick, they're running a fever, once they're fever-free for 24 hours, they certainly can come back. Okay, they can get online and do their virtual while they're out sick, but that does not mean that they cannot come back, okay? And we do have a whole protocol if for some reason your family were to get COVID. I need you to communicate that with me. We're not going to pass any judgment, but there's a protocol that I have to go through with that, okay? So just please communicate with us on that. The other thing I need you to do is we have changed things concerning passwords for our students, because when we went virtual, a lot of our kids kept saying, I don't know my password, I don't know it. You would be somewhere and you couldn't remember yours or whatever, so we've gone to a generic password for every student. And so what I need you to do is in your phone, go to your contacts, you're going to create a contact for Jupiter Ed, okay? And that's what you're going to call it. And where the email goes, if you'll change that and put password and put your child's password there. And here's what all students' passwords will be. It will be their first initial of their first name and the initial of their last name. So I would be TP, CHA, lowercase, 2020 star star. So TP, CHA, 2020 star star. That's every student's password. Now, the reason I need you to do that is because what happens if you're at work and you have a babysitter or they're with grandparents and they don't remember their password because they don't want to have to do school. Grandma can send you a message and you can say, let me send it to you, and you click on that contact, send it to Grandma, and bam, they've got the password, okay? And it's a very generic one, all right? Now, your password for Jupiter Ed, that's different, okay? But that's what we're asking you to do for your kids. And any password they've had before is non-existent. That is their password for every medium that we're using, okay? Every medium, that will be their password. Has everybody downloaded the Dojo app? Okay, if not, we need to do that before you get started with Gabby, and we can come around and some of my staff can help you do that, but that's important. We're going to be going over that. We're not going to send out an email every week. We're done with that, okay? Dojo is our communication to you, your teacher, and through the school. So once you have accepted your teacher's invite, that will automatically put you into the school one as well, okay? And so please put your Dojo app on your front screen so that every time there's a message sent, that's one of the first things you see. Don't make that on one of your second or third pages, okay? Because that is our means of communicating. Now let me say this. We are a family, and I want you to communicate with your teacher, okay? Most of them would prefer that you do it through Dojo, but I'm not saying you can't text your teachers, but I am asking this year that you respect the fact that they have family time too, okay? And that you not be texting them at 9 and 10 o'clock at night unless it's really a major important thing. That was a problem that we had last year, especially when we went virtual, which that was a learning curve for everybody. But most communications need to happen through the Dojo, okay? And your kids, they're going to love it. If they haven't used Dojo yet, they're going to love it. Our 4th and 5th graders used it last year, and they enjoyed it, okay? And your teachers will tell you more about how they're going to use that in their classroom as well. We've got a cleaning protocol. Let me say this too, another thing that we've done, a way that God's blessed us, is that we had someone donate the financial support so that every classroom, as of tomorrow morning, will have an air purifier in their classroom. So that's just going to be another level of protection or help for us in the classroom. And then our PIO has purchased every classroom a diffuser and 2 specific oils that are designed specifically for pediatrics, for respiratory, immune, and I always forget the third one. Anyway, they're designed specifically for pediatrics. They're not strong smelling. We've been using them in Jennifer's office to check that. So I'm excited about that as well, just another means of helping to keep everybody well as we go throughout the school year. Let me remind you that for the month of August, you have to send a sack of lunch every day for your child, okay? The month of August. In years past, it's just been the first 2 days. It's for the month of August, as we're still trying to figure out how we're going to navigate through this whole lunchtime and meet all the protocol that's put in place for us. So just remember that. Every day for the month of August. I'm hoping that come September, we can change that back to more of our old ways. We'll see how that's going to go, okay? But the month of August is a lunch kit or brown bag special for every child, okay? Also, last year was our transition year. Let me remind you that this year I have 2 students who are highly, highly allergic to nuts. So I need you to not send peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I need you not to send Reese's peanut butter cups. I know there are Lunchables that have that. If they have it, we're going to take it from them, okay? And there's lots of other things that you can use instead of peanut butter. And if you're not sure what those are, see me and we'll make sure that you know what those things are, okay? But especially like when there's party times and stuff, please make sure that the candy that you're sending do not have nuts in them. Actually, we have 3 kids. My nephew is one of those. I always forget about him. And he was one kid last year. Thankfully, he's old enough to know that. And he's like, Aunt Tammy, I don't think I'm supposed to eat this. You're right, Avery, you're not. Good job, bud. Okay, so that's an important thing to remind you about our nut issues. Also, another thing we put into play is each classroom has assigned bathrooms, okay? So it's an all or nothing this year. All of these kids, even my kindergartners, are old enough to hold it longer than they think they can, okay? When you're on a trip, you don't just stop every time they say they got to go potty, okay? Our teachers are going to do more bathroom breaks, but it's an all or nothing, okay? And unless they're fixing to puke or they're going to poop on themselves, then by all means, we're going to let them go, okay? But at the same time, I need you to remind your kids there's appointed times for bathroom breaks, so when you go, you need to go, okay? It's not playtime, all right? And the teachers will be there to monitor that as well, and there's cleaning things that we have to do for that as well. Also, make sure that your student brings a refillable water bottle each day to school. Our water fountains will not be used for drinking water from. They will be used to fill the water bottles from, okay? And so we're asking that each student bring a refillable water bottle with their name on it. And we will have means to sanitize those, wipe those down on a daily basis. I think all of my teachers have been asking you on Dojo, your students' t-shirt size. If you've not told them that, make sure you do that tonight. On Thursday, we'll send home an order form for you to order your t-shirt if you want one, or anyone else in your family, but they need just your students' t-shirt size tonight. That's all of that sheet. That's that one. I think I've done all of my list now. Do you guys have any questions for me? For me. Y'all are easy. All right. Our whole purpose tonight was because we need to make sure that you understand, one, how to download those apps, how to use those apps, and how your student is going to be needing to use the Dojo and the Jupiter Ed. And so we've asked Gabby to come share that. She's got some PowerPoint that she's going to run through. And then when that is done, then I'm going to give your teachers time to talk with you about the things they need you to know as well tonight. And then tomorrow, let me remind you that each class will have an assigned time that the teachers will do their virtual meeting with their students, and they're going to tell you tonight what that time is as well, okay? Any questions real quick? All right, Miss Gabby.
All right. So our two platforms that we're using this year are Classroom Dojo and Jupiter Ed. We used Jupiter Ed last year, but this year that's really new is Classroom Dojo. We're going to get rid of Remind, but what Classroom Dojo is basically a Facebook, but it's kids safe. And it's just for you, the teacher, and the students, and basically as a school body, we're able to communicate that way. It has different features. You can see child's feedback from teachers. You can hear important announcements and updates and see photos and videos from classrooms. It's easier for our teachers just to post pictures on there versus, having to save it all, and then you get to see it in the yearbook. So hopefully you'll get to see more videos and pictures. And then in order to even get on it, your child's teacher has to invite you. So if you haven't accepted that, it's crucial that you do, because like Ms. Tammy said, we're not going to be doing the emails anymore. We're going to be strictly doing Classroom Dojo. Your teacher controls usernames and passwords, so if there's an issue that they will have to reset it. I'm going to try and limit my capabilities of doing that because this year I'll be doing a whole lot of other responsibilities, and that's a little time consuming. But the most important thing is that the information is private. Only to you and your student and the teachers have access to that. Two ways to be invited is through email or text. And then you just follow the steps. So step one, once you click the link in either one of those notifications, it'll take you through and asking if this is your child. If this is your child, then you click yes. If you don't recognize the child, then it'll send you to a different step. Step two is setting up your parent account. And step three, you now can see your classroom story. In order to see what your child's doing, so I know multiple parents have multiple students in different classrooms. You can just click whichever student you want to see for that classroom story. So like my two students are, Leonardo DiCaprio and Justin Timberlake. I didn't create those, Dojo did, but those are my two students, and I would just switch back and forth between those two. A new feature is messaging teachers. So this platform allows us to have quiet hours as teachers, which is a blessing. Different teachers may, have you can text them, and that's great. But this gives us quiet hours. So some of our quiet hours will probably be 7:30 in the morning until about 5 o'clock. And then from 5 o'clock until 7:30, it'll say we're doing quiet hours, we're spending time with family. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. In order to do that, it's just you can do different things. So in order to do that, you can go from home to messages, and that will be how you can text your teacher. You can switch back between conversations just like you would in text messages or Facebook messaging or any messaging service that you've had before. And switch between classes. So if you have a student in junior high or third or fifth, you can switch between the two classes. Classroom story is just basically like your Facebook homepage. You can, post something. You can see the feed basically. All right. And then connecting with your teacher. These are just different features that offered, and I do have the PowerPoint printed out so we can go over these, and this is for you to take home, so we don't have to spend a whole bunch of time on that. Does anybody need help connecting to Classroom Dojo who has not done so already? No? That's awesome. All right, next step. Jupiter Ed. This one's super, super important in my opinion because this is how you're going to do virtual learning. Or just learning in general. We are going to do more Jupiter Ed this year versus paperwork, just so our students are familiar in case we have to go completely virtual again. But the main important thing is to make sure if a student is a student, they use the student tab. If a parent is a parent, they need to use the parent tab. Because a student cannot turn in paperwork under the parent tab. So different things like that. It's important to use, in order for your username, is the first name, last name, or their Jupiter ID, which is 4 digits, which is the back of their computer ID. The students will have access to their ID cards. We'll have those printed out for them. So again, they can use the last 4 digits, which is their Jupiter ID, or just their first and last name. When typing in your school, make sure it is spelled correctly, or it will say, "We do not recognize this school." That is because it's not spelled correctly. Ignore where it says the passwords. We did end up going straight K through 8th, have the same passwords, just to avoid having to reset those a lot and sending it to your family if they have to go to aunts and uncles and wherever they need to go in order to do virtual learning. All right, logging in as a parent, your username is usually the child's first and last name. I attempted to set up a parent account and try to do my first and last name, but that was not correct because my child was not named that. But it does have to be your child's first and last name, or again, their Jupiter ID number and whatever password that you set up. Something super important with your student and your account is changing the school year from 2019-2020, if they were here last year, to 2020-2021. I don't know why it didn't just change over automatically. We're still trying to figure that out. But if you were here last year and you're coming again this year, you have to change the school year. This is your dashboard. It's usually what will pop up first when you log in, and usually you'll see messages from your teacher. When I was logging in as a parent earlier, I did see a message from Ms. Tovar, so on the dashboard for a parent. So that's where messages will pop up. All right, in order to get access to anything, there are 4 lines at the top of Jupiter. This gives you your child's due dates. If the teacher uses the calendar feature, it'll pop up their due dates. Messages for your teachers, files that they uploaded. Sorry, I'm trying to catch my breath. So if I get to talking too fast, y'all just tell me to slow down. But anyways, so files, we are going to be doing Google Meets as our virtual learning. It's what's integrated into Jupiter Ed. So if what the teachers are going to do is record every Google Meet, and we're not going to use those recording for any other purposes, but for your child's benefit. So if they need help with, say, that math lesson that happened yesterday, they will have that recording on Jupiter. We are going to keep the recordings for a week long and then delete that to save space, and they should be uploaded into files or links, whichever way the teachers decide to upload it. And they can connect that to the calendar as well. And then the next thing was calendar. Again, this will just show you where the due dates are, different events that pop up. It's just a really great way to stay organized. This is how you can see your child's report card, their attendance in the school directory. All right, so Jupiter did a massive update. In my opinion, it is the best that they've ever done. It is more user-friendly. So last year there were 3 views for Jupiter. There was a student view, a parent view, and a teacher view. So we couldn't really tell you how to navigate yours because we didn't know, because ours looked completely different. So this year the student and the parent views look very identical, and the teachers have a slightly different view. However, if you are going to do virtual learning, they made it super easy. You just have to select whatever class or subject matter that you're going to do a video meet in. It'll pop up like this, and it'll have a little cute picture of a video camera, and you just select that. It'll automatically take them into a waiting room for that Google Meet. They will click Join Now, and the teacher will accept them into the classroom. It has to be the student logged in Jupiter in order for this to even pop up. Unfortunately, the parents do not have access to the video meets unless the teacher sends it to you. But it's a good way for the students to control their classrooms. A different thing, though, however, is K through 5th are self-contained. So they'll have one link for their core classes. Junior high will have a link for math and a link for English and history and science eventually. However, 1st through 8th also have computer and Spanish. So when they go to computer, or it's their computer time, they'll select the computer class grade, and then they'll have to click that video. So unfortunately, they will have to go between 3, but in my opinion, that's better than having to go between 8. So that'll also make it easier for them as well. This just talks about Google Meets and their features. So like I said before, our meetings are recorded for the students' benefit. We're not going to use that. We're not going to post it on Facebook or anything like that. But we are going to keep the recordings for 1 week. There is a chat feature on there, so if the students have questions, they can simply type in the chat. However, I understand with younger students, it's hard for them to type out a question, so they can just raise their hand and the teacher will unmute their microphones and they can ask that question like that. However, we are going to mute all the microphones because the little kids get really excited and they just want to say everything, or, you have little siblings running in the background that want to, talk. So we're going to mute everybody just so it stays less chaotic and we can keep going. Another feature that I didn't mention in the last meeting was that they can broadcast the screen. So a lot of our teachers use YouTube videos of readings and other educational videos. So the teacher can just broadcast their screen, and at virtual, if they're at home learning, they can see it just like anybody in the classroom. So it feels like they're in the classroom with their friends as well. Any other thing, I went over the last point, but this is going to be a great year. And if you have any questions, let me know. But does anybody need help getting into Jupiter? Are we good? All right, I'm passing it over to Miss Tammy.
All right. A couple things that I need to add to that. Please get on Dojo and play with it. I'm technology dummy, okay? And I'm slowly learning how to do that only because I don't spend enough time on it. It's like 2 minutes here and 2 minutes there. But get on there and play with it. They keep assuring me it is very user-friendly, and so far it has been. If you've never really used Jupiter Ed that much, if you're a former student, and you new families, your teacher will give you a printout that has your password on it, and then you can go in and reset that, okay? If you've never used Jupiter Ed to keep up with your students' grades, this is the year to start doing that, okay? The teachers have to have all their grading entered by midnight Sunday night. You can set it so that it sends you a message when grades have been entered so that you know if your child's missing a grade or if they bombed a quiz or a test, okay? And you know what? Make them check it on a weekly basis too. That helps them to be accountable as well and know how they're doing, okay? Don't let them play dumb, all right? They know what they're doing because they have to actually do that here as well. We're going to be teaching them using Jupiter Ed, making them upload things, do things in the classroom. So if they get sick and have to be out a few days, or if we have to go virtual, they will know what they're doing, okay? Don't let them pull a fast one on you. They will know what to do, okay, when that time comes, all right? Again, it said the videos, the lessons will be up for 1 week. And if for some reason you're gone for a week and you didn't get all of the lessons done, you're going to have to communicate that with your teacher so she doesn't dump them, okay? So again, communication is so very, very important. If in the first few days, as we're all learning this, if your child's doing virtual and something's not working, please don't just call your teacher. Call the office and let us go up there and say, Ms. Tovar, Johnny's having a hard time getting on. How do we need to work through this? That way she can still keep on teaching and not have to worry about that, and we can be the help that student needs to get them on, okay? If you are virtual learning, we are asking that your student be dressed, okay? What we see, top and up, all right? If they want to wear their pajama bottoms, I don't care, but they need to be just like any other student. They are at school, bell to bell. So from 8 a.m. till 3:20, they are on there with us. If we go to the bathroom, that's their bathroom break. If they go to PE, they can certainly not be on it during that time, but they just need to make sure that when the class comes back at 11:20, they're back on, ready to go as well, okay? And I think that's all of my other things that I noticed. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. We're kind of doing the same thing. We're just going to have a couple of buckets so there's not as many. Yes, we will make sure that we have the lunch tags made. I'm glad you reminded me of that. So that we'll hand those out probably Thursday morning. So your first day, make sure your kid's name is on there some form or fashion. But we have lunch tags that we make so that, especially kindergarten through second grade, I think it is, if you have something that needs to be warmed up, each room that they're in will have microwaves. It will have a warm side. You turn that up so we see it, so we know it's got to be warmed. And if it doesn't need anything warm, just leave the smile face showing, That's our system that we use around here, okay? So that's kind of the direction we're going with that, okay? Good question. Other questions? I'm sorry? Yes. Yes, because right now, I need y'all to understand, a lot is falling on the shoulders of our teachers, and right now lunches as well. I can't just let anybody come in to help with lunch like we've done in the past. We have to be selective of that, and there's process we're going to go through with that. But yes, that would help us if you're willing to do that and commit to us on a regular basis for that. Okay? You had a question. That is a good question. The question was, if they have a tablet and you've got multiple children, will they ever need to have it at the same time? We're not asking you to send tablets or laptops to school. We are asking you to have that so that if we have to go virtual, they're ready to do that. Or if they go home sick, they're ready to still stay up to speed with us in the classroom, okay? And we were asking you to bring that so that tonight we could help you see what that looks like, how to navigate if you're not familiar with that. But we are in no way, shape, or form that's saying that every student has to have an iPad or a laptop. If all you've got is a PC at home, that's fine, okay? And no, they do not need to bring that to school. But there will be some assignments that they may have to do at home and upload to Jupiter for their teachers. We're going to be doing that here at school so that they are in routine of knowing how to do that. Okay? If they're on virtual, they're in attendance, okay? I would ask that you police your child before you bring them to school. That doesn't mean I want you to dope them up because they've got a fever and send them on to school. If they've got a fever, keep them home, please. I know you have to work. I am not the type that if your kid has a runny nose, I'm an allergy person, okay? My throat gets scratchy when my sinuses are draining. I may have nasal drainage. I'm not going to call you and say, Johnny, you need to come get Johnny. He's got nasal drainage, okay? I'm not going to do that. Now, if Johnny's running 100 fever, yeah, you're going to come get him, all right? No matter if it's just an ear infection, okay? Please know that I'm not going to expect you to, for every little thing, all right? That's not how I function, all right? I respect the fact that you need to work, but I also want to keep everybody safe too. I am a respiratory therapist. I do have some medical background too, and so I feel like I can be a pretty good judge of things like that. I will say this, I don't think I said this already. We have 2 rooms set aside. We have cameras in those rooms, so let's say Johnny does not feel well, but he's not running fever, but you can just tell that he just doesn't feel good. It's probably just allergies. We may ask him to come on down to one of those rooms and let him do virtual with us, okay? I'll probably call you and just say, hey, he just doesn't look like he feels good, but he doesn't have fever. I'm not saying you need to come get him, but I am going to go ahead and just have him go to that room and let him do virtual that kind of way, okay? If he is running fever and it's 30 minutes to an hour before you can get there, he's going to be in that room. We're going to have our eyes on him. Jessica, Jennifer, myself will have it on our phones. And then we also have the monitors that are in Jennifer's office. But we have 2 separate rooms that we're utilizing for that, okay? Other questions? Okay. Yes, thank you. Another thing that breaks my heart is that when they come in the morning, they're used to getting the balls out, playing, running around, being crazy. I can't let them do that. So they will have to come in, have a seat where they're at. If you have to drop your child off before 7:30 or right at 7:30, know that they're going to be sitting for a while. So please make sure they have a book to read or something that they can be working on, okay? Otherwise, and please don't wait until 5 till 8 and us have 50 cars out there, okay? That's going to be a nightmare because we have to take temps and all that coming in too. So if your child is not going to be able to handle that well, then you need to adjust that of getting them to school. Maybe not dropping them at 7:30 like you're used to, because they always could come in and play. Right now, at this point in time, we can't do that. But let me say this, that you are going to have a form that you're going to have to sign off on. Miss Jessica, our PE teacher, was preparing to do PE where everybody was 6 foot apart and the balls were all sanitized and all of this and those kind of games. And that was becoming a nightmare. It's few and far between of what they can do. So I said, we're going to do PE like we always do PE. You have the choice of your child participating in PE. They are welcome to wear their mask during PE. Jessica is going to be mindful of that. But if you want to sign that form and say, I do not want my child doing PE, then they will sit on the stage in PE and they will have a PE assignment to do, okay? While everybody else does the PE that Ms. Jessica has set for that day, okay? We're trying to find the happy medium there. Yes, Jessica is going to be cleaning stuff in between the classes. We've allowed that time in the schedule. But these kids need to play and get some energy out, and so we're going to do PE like we always do. But you have the option to opt out of that, okay? Anything else? Again, this is a learning curve for all of us. Patience and grace, okay? And we're open to suggestions. I feel like we've pretty much thought about everything, but we're not perfect, and when there's something I'm sure that we've missed, and maybe you'll catch that. Please talk to me about it, okay? Because we want to be the very best that we can be, and I want everyone to be safe. You know that sickness is going to come, especially as wintertime comes upon us, all right? And we're going to do the very best to keep everybody well, all right? So, no other questions? Then I'm going to let you meet with your teachers. When your teacher is done, please see Jennifer out at the table, and then you are free to go, okay? I appreciate you giving us time this evening, and if you have any other questions, feel free to find me and ask me, okay? All right, teachers, I'll let you know when your time's up. Oh, I do remember one other thing I was going to say. As far as texting goes, feel free, if you need to text me or call me, I am up till 11 o'clock every night. I only require about 4 to 5 hours sleep. I don't mind you texting me, okay? So just know that you're welcome to do that if you have any questions or any concerns, okay? I am here to serve you in any way that I can, all right? Go.